Trading can be hard. You have to have persistence, dedication, and discipline to make it through the sometimes very low valleys that you will hit. But there are also moments of success where you feel on top of the world. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you how I grew my trading account to 7 figures, the successes and the failures along the way. This isn't about bragging. It's about sharing with you the lessons that you can apply to your own trading so that you can achieve consistent profitability and success in the markets. What's going on, everyone? Jeremy Hritz here. Courage pays better than fear. Here with my 5 top lessons that I've learned through my experiences as a profitable trader and how I grew my account to 7 figures. These are the lessons that have been most important to me that I still apply today to ensure that I am not only maximizing what the markets put in front of me, but that I continue to grow, develop, and become the best trader that I can. And again, these are my personal results. Everyone is going to be different in their trading, but I wanted to share what works for me. And let's start with lesson number 1. Preparation is everything. If you want to be successful at anything in life, you have to be willing to put the time in. And with trading, you better be ready to double that. And that means sacrificing other things in your life so that you can study, prepare, and be ready to trade the markets. I remember whenever I was working as a high school principal and was learning how to trade, my day at school would start around 7:15 a.m. So that meant, because I had young children, I had to get up at 4 a.m. and study before I got ready, before my kids got up, so that I was able to be present for them, but also I was putting in the time to learn. And you're going to need a similar type of mindset, dedication to get less sleep, to invest time to studying charts, fundamentals, technicals, earnings calls, earnings reports, all these things so that you are informed and prepared to successfully trade. To be a successful trader, you're not just going to learn one strategy, the hammer strategy, sit down and trade it and make a ton of bank. That's not how it works. In fact, that's a recipe for disaster. It requires consistency in your approach, back trading, sitting down with historical market data and working through trades, taking setups and seeing how they would play out, and then studying your results. It also means keeping track of the trades that you are currently taking, whether they're paper trades or real trades, and breaking those down, studying them to see what you are doing well and what you can improve. The preparation is not just watching YouTube videos. More importantly, studying charts, taking back trades, paper trades, and then after the fact, breaking those down, understanding what led to your success, what led to your failures, and then working on those areas. When you have that type of approach, that type of mindset, that type of preparation, you will see results in your trading. And I often say to my coaching students that the market rewards someone who puts the time in. So what you put into your trading, what you put into your study and your learning and your practice, you will get out of the markets. You cannot be afraid of hard work. You have to invest your time. You have to make sacrifices, but on the other side of that are successes and rewards. Lesson number 2, one of my biggest trades that I've ever had in my career, I had tremendous conviction and belief. While the first lesson is preparation, the second lesson is you have to have an overwhelming amount of evidence that supports what you expect to happen. For instance, if you're just taking a trade based off of one indicator, again, I'll use a hammer example. Let's say that there's been a pullback, you see a hammer and you just trade that hammer, but you're not looking at things like volume. You're not looking at things like market sentiment. You're not looking at things like what is the current overall trend? What's the short-term trend? If you don't know what's happening with that particular company, if you don't have a preponderance of evidence to support the trade that you're taking, you should not take the trade. It's about being selective and having tremendous confidence in the trade that you're about to take. And that means conviction, belief that this trade has a high probability of working out. And again, one of the biggest trades that I've ever had that I'm most proud of was, in fact, the company NVIDIA that I often talk about here on this channel, heading into earnings season. And by studying the charts, knowing what has happened in the past with this company, knowing trends, knowing the technicals, the setups, I had significant faith and belief in the trade that I was setting up. And that came from that preparation and study. And so what is key here about conviction and belief is that you have to have the evidence to support it. And if you're wavering, you don't feel at least 90 to 95% confident, then you want to step away from that trade. You don't want to trade it. And here's the thing. There may be days when you don't take a trade, or even better, you might take weeks or months to set up a swing trade, and you might have to wait weeks or months, or maybe even a year for your conditions to be met in order to take that trade. But the key is that preparation first. The second step is having that conviction, belief, the confidence from the evidence that has come from your study that this trade is going to work out for you. And that leads us into lesson number 3, patience over chasing. I just talked about how lesson number 2 is all about conviction and belief. And I talked about how you need to be selective. You also have to be patient. You don't want to chase trades. You don't want to enter at the high just because something's running and you feel that FOMO emotion swell inside of you. If anything, that's the time to say, time out, pump the brakes, and step back. The best trades are the ones that we carefully plan out, that we are methodical about, that we are thoughtful, intentional, and we allow time for them to develop. Now, with day trades, you may be reacting during the day to certain price levels being reached or hit. But the key there is you have to identify those price levels in advance to know, hey, coming into this day, if it gets to this price level, I'm looking for a short. And that type of approach, it's proactive, is going to force you to be patient because you want to be selective. You want to take your time. You don't want to just chase and go after something that isn't there. So lesson number 3, very critical, and is something that has been super beneficial for me, is patience over chasing. Lesson number 4, defined risk equals freedom. Look, if you're going into a trade and you don't know what you stand to lose and you haven't accepted what you could potentially lose on the trade, you're setting yourself up to be miserable, to be unhappy, upset, mad at the world. We have to know in our trading system, in our trading plan that we have set up in advance, how much we are willing to risk on every trade. And knowing that, we must also have stop loss areas set for when the trade inevitably goes against us, because it will happen. We're not going to win 100% of our trades, but we have to have that stop loss set so we get stopped out and don't blow up our entire account. It's very important if you are going to have longevity in the game of trading. You're going to have to define your risk parameters. How much is it that you are willing to lose? Is it $100, $300, $1,000, $10,000? I don't know. It's going to be different for everyone out there, but you have to know that in advance and you have to plan for that and prepare for that. And when you are clear about what your risk is going into any trade, I'm not going to lie to you and say it's going to feel better when you lose, but you're going to have the freedom in knowing, hey, if this trade doesn't go in my direction, I have confidence, I have conviction in it, I believe it, I was patient in waiting for it, And if I'm wrong, I accept that I'm wrong. It's not about being smarter than the markets. It's about playing the probabilities. But the key here is if it goes against you, you are only losing what you have determined in advance you were willing to lose. And that's going to keep you liquid. That's going to preserve your capital. And that's going to keep you in the game of trading. Lesson number 5. This is the final lesson that I wanted to share about my journey to growing my account to 7 figures that has really helped me and it sticks with me today. And it's consistency. And it's all about the base hits. If you're going out there every day into the markets and you're day trading and you're swing trading and you are locking in gains and you understand that you're not going to hit a home run every time you're up the bat, that sometimes you're going to hit a single, or maybe every so many trades you'll hit a double. And sometimes you're going to foul out. Let's say you're trading $100 risk and you're hitting those base hits. You're getting those singles. You're getting $100 here, $100 there, $100 here, losing 100 here, making 100 here. It's getting those small wins and stacking them that is going to do a few things for you. Number one, it's going to build your confidence. So your consistency and your profits build your confidence. But what it also does, by stacking those small wins, by controlling our risk, we are going to put ourselves in a position where we are not draining our capital and where we are building our patience and allowing ourselves time to find that trade that is going to be more than a single, more than a double, a triple, or even a home run. It will be a grand slam. And so those might not come around too often in the course of a trading year, 252 days. You might get 1 or 2 opportunities for a grand slam a year. But here's the thing. You're only going to get those opportunities if you are consistently hitting singles. You are consistently making sure you are protecting your risk, and you are being consistent in following your rules. So the key takeaway here, consistency is going to lead you to building your confidence. It's going to help you to believe in your process and what you're doing. And most importantly, it's going to set you up for when that perfect pitch is coming right at you and you're prepared for it. And if you've been stacking those small wins over time, building your confidence, you're going to get that perfect pitch. You're going to swing and you're going to crush it and knock it out of the park. And you're going to see that it doesn't take massive trades every single day to be a profitable trader who can make a living from this. It's someone who could stack the wood, who picks their pitches, and who waits and is patient. Growing your account to 7 figures requires a lot of hard work, discipline, perseverance. And let's be honest, it's going to require you going through significant losses. I would be lying if I sat here and looked you in the face and said, oh, it was easy. I just had one trade that got me there. No, that's not how it works. In fact, when I first quit my job as high school principal to become a trader, the 3rd month that I was doing this, I had my biggest loss, which was $7,000 trying to short NVIDIA. And think about this. I was the sole breadwinner. I lost $7,000. The question started coming into my brain, how am I going to pay my bills this month? I have 3 young children. I have health insurance that I have to pay. And so you hit those moments during your trajectory as a trader, as a full-time trader, where you're asking yourself, what the hell am I doing? And that specific trade that I'm telling you about was because I didn't follow my rules. And that's why it is so important to define your risk and to protect yourself. It's also important for me to share with you that this is not a neat, clean process. Growing your account to 7 figures is going to require sacrifice, dedication, study, preparation, and a commitment and desire to see this through to the end. And even once you get there, that does not mean that you have arrived, that you're just going to be knocking off 6-figure trades. That's not how it works. Because the moment you let off the gas, the moment you think, I've got this, I've arrived, the market's got news for you. And that is, you can never back off. You can never relax. You always have to keep your game up. You always have to keep your work ethic up, and you always have to keep pushing. And so those key takeaways here today for all of you, the advice that I have, the lessons. Lesson 1, preparation is everything. Lesson 2, conviction with evidence. Lesson 3, patience over chasing. 4, defining your risk equals freedom. And 5, your consistency will create opportunities. These are the most important lessons that have helped me achieve success in my trading and helped me achieve the time freedom that is most important to me in this world I am in today. It's not about the money. I'm not a Lambo martini bikini guy. That's not me. I love the time freedom. I'm my own boss. I get to do what I want to do. And these are my results. This is my experience. This is what's most important and has worked for me. And it might be something different from you, but what I wanted to share with you is my experience, how I arrived to where I am today, how I'm constantly still working to maintain and advance my trading so that you can get some benefit from this. My trading account to 7 figures was a milestone, but the greater milestone for me was being able to handle mentally, emotionally, spiritually those big winners, but also those big losses. If this video has helped you, subscribe for more trading lessons and to be alerted for when the next video up in this series is going to be one of my worst losses ever, when I was up 115K and being the dumbass that I was in that moment, letting it all slip away into the dust. That